Community Development Commission. My name is Roy Sy. I'm chairman of the Wooddale Community Development Commission. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. Woods?
Here.
Mr. Vant is not here. Mr. Damasco?
Here.
Mr. St. Marie is absent. Mr. Milano?
Here.
And Chairman Sy.
Present. I declare a quorum present. I will now entertain a motion to approve the minute meetings of July 13, 2016.
So moved.
Do we have a second? I'll second it. There's been a motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion is carried. I will entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes from July 18, 2016. Need a motion,
Make that a formal motion.
and I'll second it. There be a motion to second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We have two public hearings scheduled tonight. All testimony will be given under oath. At the hearing, there will be an opportunity for the public to offer testimony and to comment. Following each public hearing, our deliberations will be open to the public in the sense that all are invited to listen and to watch. The public, however, may not speak during our deliberations. State statute requires a vote by the majority of the members of the Community Development Commission for those matters that will be referred to City Council for approval, and for those matters which the Community Development Commission will make the final decision. We ask the applicants here tonight to provide general description of the proposal and then give specific evidence to demonstrate that the proposal meets the standards of approval for the request. The burden is on the applicant to prove the case. With respect to others who wish to speak, you will be given an opportunity to present specific evidence as to why you believe the applicant meets or fails to meet the standards for a request. Finally, we'll strictly adhere to the schedule prepared for tonight's meeting. In the case of an applicant or an event you or your attorney have filed an appearance as objector, you'll be afforded sufficient time which to present your evidence. Whether you're a member of the public wishing to make a statement for the record or a witness testifying on behalf of the applicant or an objector, you will be placed under oath and then begin by stating your name and address. If you are not presenting evidence on behalf of the applicant or an objector, your remarks will be taken after the applicant and all who file an appearance as an objector have presented all their evidence. You will be subject to questions by the Community Development Commission and the applicant or objector. To allow as many people as possible to be heard, if you're not an applicant or an objector, we request that your remarks be limited to 5 minutes. If additional time is needed, the hearing will be continued to the next available hearing date. I will now call the first matter before you this evening. We're going to be taking it out of order because our second case is a continuance, so that this will be fairly quick. The case number 2016 CDC-09 is in regard to a special use to operate a secondhand store at 238 East Irving Park, located on the south side of East Irving Park Road at the intersection of Maple. Secretary, please note that the attendance and quorum is present. The petitioner has requested a continuance of this agenda item to the September 19th meeting due to illness. Okay. I need a motion to continue case number 2016 CDC-09.
Motion. Second.
Who made that motion? I'm sorry. Mr. Wood, Bill? And the second? Thank
I
you.
need a roll call on it, Marilyn.
Okay. Mr. Chairman Sy,
Yes.
Mr. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Damasco,
Yes.
Mr. Milano.
Yes.
The motion to continue the public hearing of special use request of 238 East Irving Park Road carries. This item will be heard September 19, 2016. Okay. The next case is case number 2016 CDC-06 in regard to a rezoning of 365 East Irving Park Road located on the north side of Irving, approximately 90 feet east of Hemlock Avenue. Secretary, please note that we have a quorum present. Staff, please provide a summary of the request, indicate when notice of the hearing was published and whether you have the certificate of publication from the newspaper.
Would you raise your right hand and state your name and address, please?
Mo Khan, 404 North Woodhill Road, Woodhill, Illinois.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Staff does have a certificate of publication. It was published on July 22nd, 2016, and the certificate of publication is on file. What we have here in front of us, the petitioner has requested a rezoning from C2 General Commercial to C3 Automotive Service in order to attract a tenant to use the property for a motor vehicle repair facility in the near future. The property has an orange border around it. It's on the north side of Irving Park Road between Hemlock and Ash. Its current zoning is C2 General Commercial. To the north, we have R4 Single Family Residential. To the east and west, we have C2 General Commercial. And to the south is C3, which is Automotive Service zoning. To check with comprehensive plan, the future land use map calls for this property to be a mixed-use commercial office residential. You can see it by the blue square on the map right over here. Mixed-use commercial office residential calls for a office or retail component on the first floor, or some type of business or personal service on the first floor, with a residential units on the above ground floors. Office services should not be confused with automotive services. The comprehensive plan defines office services to include professional offices that could be dentists, lawyers, real estate agents, or even personal services like barbers or beauty salons, not automotive services. For the UDO compliance, so two things to look at would be the formation, if the rezoning would help with the formation of functional neighborhoods, and to enhance the quality of life for not just that property, but adjacent properties as well. If the rezoning is allowed, these are some of the uses that will be allowed by right without any further analysis or requirement or permissions from the city or a city council. Some of these uses would be motor vehicle repair, manufacturing, laboratories, towing services without on-site impound, and warehouse or storage facilities. Those uses wouldn't help create a functional neighborhood because you would have dissimilar uses with the retail components on either side, on the east and west side, and then you would have a heavy commercial or light industrial use in the middle. It will also have a potential negative impact on the adjacent properties. At 365 East Irving Park Road, it is a mixed-use building. There are residential units on the second floor, and then you have residential single-family homes to the north, as well as residential units to the east and west on top of both, I believe this retail store and these shops over here. You have residential on the second floor for both these buildings, which are adjacent to it. Those uses typically will result in higher noise level, increase in vehicle traffic, and potential odor emissions because the petitioner has stated that he has interest in motor vehicle businesses to operate from that location, so you have potential smells of oil or other vehicle fluids that could have a negative impact on these adjacent properties. UDO also requires us to do a site plan review for any type of rezoning. While doing the site plan review, staff came across some potential issues with parking and the movement of traffic onto the property and off the property. As I stated, the petitioner in his narrative stated that he has some interest from businesses wanting to operate a motor vehicle repairs facility out of this location. If we look at the minimum parking requirements for motor vehicle repair, it is 2 spaces per work bay, plus 1 space per 500 square feet of office and or waiting area. This building has an office waiting area about 1,850 square feet, which would require 4 parking spaces, and a minimum number of work bay to have a motor vehicle repair shop is 1 at least, which would require 2. So the minimum total parking required is 6. In reality, most motor vehicle repair shops would have more than just 1 work bay. They would have 2, 3, maybe even 4, depending on the size, but definitely not just 1. But the minimum would be just 6. If we look at this location, currently they only have 5 parking stalls. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you look at the furthest 2, these 2, they're not in compliance with parking regulations in terms of dimensions. Parking stalls are required to be at least 18 feet in length. The furthest one here is only 10 feet. This one is 12 feet, so when you park a larger vehicle like a truck or larger sedans, they actually overhang onto the sidewalk and onto the apron. As you can see also, there's not much turning area for vehicles to come in and out of these parking stalls, so they would actually be backing out onto Irving Park directly, which causes potential traffic issues and safety hazards for both drivers on the roadway and for the drivers that are pulling out. The owner has a possibility of adding 2 more parking stalls in the rear of the property. They would be approximately located right here. However, if the owner chooses to do so, he would be required to bring the property into compliance with ADA regulations and add an ADA accessible stall in the front. And that would remove 2 parking stalls over here. So even though he might be adding 2 in the back, he's not increasing the total number of parking stalls. So we would still have the problem meeting the parking requirements for a motor vehicle repair facility. Due to the fact that the property is, the request is not compatible with surrounding zoning and land use classification, it's not consistent with the comprehensive plan, nor is it consistent with the UDO. The staff is recommending to the CDC to recommend denial for this request. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Is there any questions from Commission for the staff?
I don't know if I would address this to you or to the property owner, the residence that they currently occupy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions for staff? Is there anyone to objection to the petition or any member of the general public in attendance who wishes to make a comment or has a question for the petitioner? If so, please stand and be placed under oath. You have to go up to the podium over here. Is that speaker on, Mo?
I believe so.
Yeah. Do we want the petitioner? It's not.
Would you raise your right hand, please? State your name and address.
Božena Thea Petrovich, 181 Hawthorne Avenue in Wooddale.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Okay. I am against the proposal for the rezoning. I also have property that is adjacent to that property. We've been through this before. I was prepared to do a letter at the last meeting, but somehow it was canceled and we weren't notified until after the fact. So I wrote a letter, which is easier that way I won't be confused. So it was addressed to Ms. Shirley Siebert, City Clerk, and the letter goes, in response to your letter of June 30th, 2016, I would like to address the Wooddale Community Development Commission. Just to refresh everyone's memory, 365 East Irving Park Road is located in a residential B2 retail and limited service business district unless it was changed without notice to the public. As it is, the property in question has only one compact car parking space on Irving Park, and the rest of the cars and trucks park on the sidewalk. All other potential customers would have to drive around to either Hemlock or Ash and use the alleyway to get to the back of the building. The whole building is surrounded by residential properties. As we already have enough noise, vibration, and pollution in town, not to mention the health and safety from a potential B3 business. The last time the city council allowed a special use on this property, it was a disaster. We had no peace and quiet of all hours of day and night. The city wasted a lot of our taxpayer money on court, code enforcement, and the police department. We are asking the city to reject this request for rezoning to a B3. And then I underline, will the clerk please read all the type of businesses that would be allowed in a B3? If the rezoning is allowed and the residents need to be aware of what type of business could be next to them in the future, that will have an impact on the whole city. Let's make some good decisions on business placements and make the city of Wooddale a nice place to live. I also emailed our alderman on August 4th, and I attached a copy of this letter. And in this letter, I was asking, please find attached letter dated July 18, 2016. We arrived for the meeting, but it was not on the agenda. Received another notice after the fact, which was a waste of our time. Also, we tried to get the alley cleaned up from the dumping ground that it is at that location. Have called numerous of times, but to no avail. In the past, some of the neighbors got together and got rid of the couches and other junk. It seems that we only get some action when we contact our alderman. Please help. And I signed it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else? Go up to the podium, state your name and address.
Would you raise your right hand, please? State your name and address, please.
My name is Mirko Petrovic. I live at 181 Hawthorne Avenue.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do. Like my wife, I have objection to this rezoning. First of all, I think the city need to look in the flooding issue that is gentleman experiencing on that property. Right now, we have in the back of the alley, unusual concept about there is a sump pump that was installed behind the property. And the thing is all dug out, there's a bunch of pipe going out, bunch of weeds. Yeah, I'm concerned too, it was a dumping ground. There was a red couch that was dumped by his property. But then, a couple of days later, the red couch ended up to be to the next property. We need to have some better, the city need to have some better comprehensive plan about, because if I live in residential and I bought it in residential, property. I didn't buy next to the industrial property. This particular property, well, here, we have it here. I mean, how can we allow it? It doesn't blend in. A, the noise. B, there's no parking. I have bunch of pictures, okay, when the motorcycle was there. In the front, people used to park the cars. If you walk on the sidewalk, you can't walk because the cars are sticking out of the Irving Park. So the people who have to go off,
Stand by the podium so we can hear you, what you're saying.
they will have to go on Irving Park on the street to go through.
I believe staff has already covered that issue on, regarding the sidewalk.
What do you say?
I says the staff has already covered that issue. They brought out that there was a real
You're right.
tight
Well,
parking.
I think it's important that we all understand that whatever is covered, that we make sure that we understand that there is an issue with the property. Maybe the city should have some kind of plan about buying properties like this and making it something nice out of that business district, not to be industrial zone, to blend in with the neighborhood. We do have on the left side of the property, people living apartment building. On the right side, people living apartment building. On top of the property, there is apartment. In the back, there is a people living. We need to make that living space and let the people live. However, we need to find some solution for the gentleman so he can perhaps rent it out, whatever belongs in that space. Not industrial, not automotive, that's gonna make a noise with the air hammers and things, and there's no parking. I like the city to deny this particular request. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Is the petitioner here?
Yes.
Could you go up to the podium?
Would you raise your right hand, state your name and address, please?
Joe Tulo, 365 East Irving Park Road is the
Okay.
property address.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So
Yes,
help
I
you
do.
God?
Okay. Heard a lot of comments here this evening about why this shouldn't go through. I'm proposing this because, again, with the central business district, across the street is nothing but automotive. One building over, there's a gas station with 3 or 4 bays. I'm not sure how many are in there. So the precedent in the neighborhood has already been set. I agree with some of the neighbors about when we had the motorcycle person in there. He lasted 3 months, never paid his rent, and was out of there. So we had that particular thing. The questionnaires here for the city tonight, there are 23 or in the 20s of empty spaces up and down Irving Park Road. This contributes to urban blight, and it shows that this is not a viable place to open up a business. And the only request that I have had has been automotive. One of them was somebody who wanted two bays inside. They talked about the particular spaces on the outside of the building. Well, they would pull in. We had a jewelry store in there, and they never had any problems of parking. There's enough space to back out and safely exit onto Irving Park Road with the spaces that are there available right now. With this type of business, okay, with only 1 bay, they were talking about repairing high-end German luxury cars. I know the fear could be, well, this could open it up to a lot of undesirable tenants. I don't think that's going to happen because I don't want that to happen. We want to be good neighbors. We want to make sure I have someone living in the building. I do not want noises. You know, there's other businesses there, and a lot of noises with the airplanes alone. So to say that there's not noises with the planes coming over every 30 seconds, I think this would be minimal. And again, with this precedent being set with the gas station being one building away and across the street with all automotive, I do not see how this is inconsistent to what is there right now. We're talking about not what's in the future, we're talking about now. Unrented buildings cause people to dump things, okay? I did not dump that it wasn't on my property, it dumped it in the alley, okay? Those types of things. Do you think as the owner of the building that I want that? Absolutely not. The gang graffiti that's been sprayed, illegal activities going on at night that are dangerous to the community, what's more dangerous? An empty building with no tenants, not contributing to the benefit of the city of Wooddale? I think we need to not be short-sighted. I think we need to find long-term solutions. I agree. The property wants to be purchased or whatever, or redeveloped. I'd be interested in that. But in the meantime, I have an investment here. I invested in this community, okay, over $500,000. And I'm sitting on an empty property almost 2 years. So think about that if you were in my particular shoes. I want to see something that will contribute positively to the city of Wooddale. Absolutely. I want to see a business that's viable with a quality tenant that can provide services or tax revenue to the city. We want to see a solution. I need help, okay? And I'm asking the zoning commission, the city council, and a chance to be able to do this. The precedent has been set on the property. It was a repair shop, it was a manufacturing site for wrought iron railings, and the wrought iron railings are still on the building. It was an air conditioning space. So traditionally the building was built for industrial use and C3, okay? So that's been the history, and the zoning was changed. So I think for the benefit to have empty spots and empty buildings up and down there, I would like to see all of them filled, and with the new expressway coming through and the improvements to Irving Park Road, we would like to see this a viable space. But we're talking about the status quo so far is not working. And we want to make sure that Wooddale's viable and business friendly and allow businesses to come in. I do not want to open this to any type of business. I can see the neighbors' concerns. You know, if I own property behind there, but the adjacent properties are next to behind a gas station on the north side of the street. So if you look at this, we have a choice, okay? Do we want more urban blight, more empty spaces up and down? The place across the street's been rent for almost a year and a half, and it's no guarantee, and they had C3 zoning across the street, and they still haven't rented one of the spaces there. A stone's throw away. So what do? We have a problem. And sitting empty does no one any good. So all I'm asking is the building originally was built in the 60s, and it was zoned C3, and it was changed. And I asked why. Why would you stop with that building that has that much square footage and built for that type of use? You know, that's the question I present. So the status quo can stop, or we can move forward and try to get things rented and do things to improve the properties and make it a viable spot. So if you have any questions, I'd like to answer
Is
them.
anybody on the,
I do. Mr. Tullo?
Yes.
You said that the property's been vacant for
Over 2 years.
over 2 years?
Yeah,
And there has been no other interest shown?
nothing. I wish I wouldn't be here right now and that the building was rented and I could find something compatible, but I have a square peg and a round hole. I mean, square, the opposite.
Can I ask you this, have you done anything to promote?
Yes, it's on LoopNet, it's on multiple listings, it's in multiple sources. I've had it on Craigslist, I have a realtor I'm working with. Yes.
Can I ask you what kind of promotion you're doing? I mean, for example, would it say?
Well, I mean, I don't have the actual listing, but it lists the square footage and blah, 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 and all the things that, and it's,
Is there any direction as to, or do you give any direction as to what it would be suited for?
that I personally, I mean, yeah, I mean, if I had my druthers, I mean.
No, I mean, in your ads or whatever, your promotion.
Well, again, I go back to the only inquiries I've had have been all automotive. Basically, that was it. One window shop, which would be zoned legal in that, in C2. And that never came to fruition. So I actively am trying to market the property. I've worked and asked the staff, you know, to help promote it. I would love to find a renter, but in the meantime, you know, it's sitting empty. And I would like to improve the building, you know, with the cityscapes and take advantage of that. But obviously, if you're sitting on an empty building, it's economic hardship. Okay? And I would love to see it rented. And I'm just looking for every option. And even if the zoning change would occur, there's no guarantee I'm gonna find a quality renter. I had one renter that was in there for 3 weeks and he went, you know, and he was non-successful and left, pulled out. Signed the lease and that was it. So.
I think the square peg, I think maybe by granting this, it would actually be a square peg.
But it was originally Zone C3 would be my argument.
Correct. That's not-
Well, I understand that, but why was it changed? And, you know, when a building was built legally in the 60s, and it was there, and met all the court requirements of the city of Wooddale at the time, why would you change something to make it unrentable? Right now, it's unrentable, and then we've got a major problem.
Is there any other questions for the petitioner? Staff, you have some rebuttal comments?
I just wanted to clarify, I did look up the prior zoning, and in the 1980s, it was actually zoned B2. The change from the B, their business designation, to the C, commercial designation, occurred in 2010 with the adoption of the UDO. But to my knowledge, there wasn't really a significant change there, but that was a public hearing process. And then the wrought iron railing business that was located in this facility was operating, but it was actually a legal nonconformity at the time. And so once that use ceased to exist, then it met the nonconforming provisions, and then that use is no longer allowed. So just to clarify some of the history of the property.
I thought you did not have records of that. I thought there was no records of that because I had asked you that question before.
I don't recall getting asked that question. I apologize.
Just as a point of procedure, please direct all comments to the commission. If you have a comment on that, you can express that to the commission.
I made that comment. Is there any further questions?
No, thank you very much.
I thank you and respectfully submit this. Thank you for your consideration.
Is there any more questions or comments from the commission?
And just as a reminder, this is the portion where the commissioners have the opportunity to ask questions of the staff, of the petitioner, of the folks who have offered comments. Once this portion is closed, the commissioners can no longer ask questions. It's just deliberations between the commissioners. I just want to remind everybody of that.
question, Kelly. Is there any way, I understand everything's going on here and nobody wants to have the noise. Is there any way we can try to figure out a way to help them out to rent it out the way it is without going in any automotives? To stay in the zoning we're at, maybe help, I don't know, educate them or find another way to help them get it rented? I mean, we all want the spaces on Irving Park Road to be rented.
I completely agree with you. Staff has been working with the petitioner for about a year now. Basically, since I started, I've been working with Mr. Tulo, and we've identified the types of uses that would be permitted with the existing zoning. We have discussed possible renovations to make the space more usable for those particular types of tenants. We've also discussed facade improvement program to be able to spruce up and increase the curb appeal of the property. And it's my understanding that the petitioner is not interested at this time in pursuing those options, is trying to lease up the space and then potentially evaluate doing some of these other improvements. But anytime there is somebody that comes to the city and is looking for a space that is similar to the space that the petitioner has available, I have a marketing sheet that I have provided to them on a handful of occasions. Whether that has panned out, it doesn't sound as though it has. We've talked about some specific ideas. And unfortunately, we can offer these ideas and suggestions, but it's not really staff's job to try and go any further than that. So we help as much as we can, and we will continue to do so. There are some uses that may have lower impacts in the existing zoning that may be more suitable given the existing space, and we can continue to work with the petitioner on that.
I have a question. To kind of touch on what Dave said, does that mean that the city or the staff, is there something, are you aggressively pursuing a way to help? Because there is quite a few vacancies through that corridor. Is there something in place to help promote and help out the business owners or the property owners? Is there something actually in place for that?
So the city doesn't actively recruit or market individual properties for tenants. Now, if there was some sort of a public-private partnership where there was a redevelopment opportunity, that might be something a little bit different. But at this time, if somebody comes in and requests information about vacant spaces, that's where we have the information available. But we also use some system, it's called CoStar, which is a commercial real estate database. And so anytime there's a property that's listed, we can go through all of those vacant properties that are listed on CoStar and then be able to help somebody who's looking for a space find some potential options for them. But the city, as a matter of course, does not actively or aggressively try and put tenants in these vacant spaces. This is probably something that we will be looking at in terms of, and I know that we've got on our economic development webpage, we have a site selection tool for businesses that are looking to either locate to Wooddale or if they're looking to expand their space, where we can help them find a space based on the information that we have available to us. But ultimately, I mean, it really is the property owner's responsibility to try and more aggressively market the properties.
Yeah, I wasn't suggesting the city be the one to go ahead and do that.
Okay.
But I was just wondering if there was something, if they were working with or in conjunction with staff or the property owners. But yeah,
Yeah, it's typically when the property owners come to us and tell us, hey, we're having a difficult time, or we're looking for a tenant. If you happen to come across one, please send them our information, and we certainly do that. And anytime we have a business that comes in and they're having a difficult time in one location, we always try and help them by finding perhaps some other suitable locations so that they can look at those options.
Yeah, but right now with the condition of Irving Park, this is all all these empty spaces are like a drug on the market because nobody's going to touch them until Irving Park is done. Because these are the inquiries that I personally get at home. In fact, when does Irving Park get done? I says, as soon as Dunham and puts a big crew out there to finish the job rather than 2 or 3 guys out there all the time, you know? So until this, until this construction on Irving Park is completed and we get back to normal, these buildings and storefronts are gonna be vacant because even your present owners, business owners are having a tough time, like Subway and the other little hamburger joint there, Shorty's, the bowling alley, everybody, because look at the bowling alley just came into the last council meeting, asked for a refund of a permit that he has his car shows out, you know. So everybody's hurting along there.
I do have in my staff liaison report, I can fill you in on some other activities that we're doing to try and generate some more business, or at least make people aware of some of the additional business that's in the city. And so we can touch on that perhaps later in the
Right.
meeting.
Okay. No, we're done talking, no, this is just between the commission up here now.
Well, we haven't closed yet. We haven't closed yet, so if there's some additional testimony, we
Okay.
can offer that.
I just talked to the attorney, do you have any additional stuff, or is this just an opinion, or are you going to expand on? Okay.
I had sent to the staff and some of the aldermen. This article appeared in the Daily Herald, and it talked about Arlington Heights has zero-based interest loan effort, up to $20,000 for starting new businesses in the community. So this article wasn't, I can leave it for anyone who would like to view it, but that is an incentive that the village has done for new businesses to help them start up and give them zero interest loans, up to $10,000 to $20,000. So as a suggestion box, maybe that's something the city and the could consider to lure new businesses into the community.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Mr. Petrov? Yeah. Yep.
Okay, there is a big difference when the gas station that is on north side of the property that have a in and out, you can turn the car and everything, you can get out. His property, he had to back up. They have to back up to the Irving Park, and Irving Park is very busy. So there is no turnaround. You can't compare the north side of Irving Park and the south side of Irving Park. South side of the Irving Park is back to the railroad, and however, everybody have an in and out. All the businesses have in and out. He's the only one that doesn't have that. So it is a big concern far as in and out of the business. Another thing is, on top of the gas station, nobody live up there. He have apartment up there. Somebody live up there. Does this business comply with all the regulations so nobody die up there from the smoke, from the fire, from whatever it takes to make it to be rezoned, if it can be? When the people buy property, they do buy property that is on certain zoning, and he bought it. We don't want nobody to go broke. I want him to make it, but I want city to figure out what's the best way to come out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comment. The gentleman with the blue. Yeah, yeah, he'll have to be sworn in.
Would you raise your right hand, state your name and address, please?
Joe Tulo, 365 East Irving Park Road.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. I am the upstairs tenant, and I can confirm that's in our best interest to not have something loud or disruptive there. What we're looking at, that gentleman that was here earlier is looking to do high-end German luxury cars, and I guess my question would be, is there a way to tighten the restrictions on the zoning to allow one, sort of business like that to comply with the neighbors and everything like that?
I can address that. What you're referring to would be called a text amendment. It's a whole separate application process. What you have here before the commissioners is a rezoning. So I'd encourage you to talk to staff about that potential solution. They can work with you on that. They may say that's a good idea. They may say that's an unwise idea. But that's a different type of zoning relief that you're speaking of.
Okay. And one last thing, what signifies a parking space in the city? What's the width, I guess? You said 18 feet long, what's the width?
And I'll refer to staff on that.
A parking spot is measured at 9 feet by 18 feet.
Okay, and what is the width from, would it be the edge of the door to our property line on the west side of the back end of the parking lot?
Go ahead.
The plat of survey did not show dimensions, so we do not know exactly.
Then how can we confirm there's 2 parking spaces back there? I've personally had 3 cars comfortably on that side of the garage door there.
Based on the estimates on the plat, that is what we have calculated. If that is not the case, then we can certainly reevaluate.
Okay. That is all. Thank you.
Great, thank you for your comment.
Any questions?
Is there any other questions? Okay, right here. Oh. I will now entertain a motion to close the public hearing. I need a motion.
Motion.
Second. There have been motions in the second. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Damasco?
Yes.
Mr. Milano?
Yes.
Chairman Sy.
Yes. The motion is carried. The public hearing on case number 2016 CDC-06 is closed. Now we will proceed into deliberations of the merits of the request based on evidence provided. No additional testimony will be admissible, and public comment cannot be taken during this discussion. Is there any other discussion relative to this? Emily? Right here.
Okay, so just as a reminder to the commissioners, whenever we have a request for zoning relief, a motion is always made to approve, and that's only because we want to keep the record clear and the vote count clear. So the motion the chairman will be making is a motion to approve. If you oppose the applicant's petition, your vote would be a no. If you are in favor of the applicant's petition, the vote would be a yes.
Okay. Against the finding of fact and reconsideration set forth in the staff memo, and in consideration of the petition and testimony presented, the proposed map amendment is consistent with the UDO and comprehensive plan. Therefore, I move to recommend to the City Council approval of the zoning request, the zoning relief requested in case number 2016 CDC-06. I'll make that in the form of motion.
And just again, as a point of procedure, all motions require a second. Just because a commissioner seconds the motion does not mean the commissioner either approves or opposes the petition. It's just to get the motion onto the floor.
I'll second
There's been a motion and a second. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Sy,
Yes.
Mr. Peterson,
No.
Mr. Woods,
No.
Mr. Damasco,
No.
and Mr. Milano.
No.
Okay, so for map amendments and text amendments, to achieve a recommendation for the CDC, there needs to be a vote of 4 yeses. We did not get that for this particular application, so the recommendation will go up to the city council as a recommended denial of the petitioner's request for zoning relief.
Any other comment?
You got everything? That's the end. We're just going to go on to that.
Oh, I'll go on to the end.
That concludes the public hearing.
That concludes the public hearing. Is there any report from the staff?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to remind everyone that hasn't completed the Open Meetings Act training that we talked about last month when we were doing the commissioner training, that still needs to be completed. I will send out an email. I did find out that the commissioner training has not been posted yet to our YouTube channel. So as soon as that goes out, I'll send a link with that and then a link to the Open Meetings Act training, which because we don't have everyone having received their certificate, we're going to ask that everyone complete that training, just so that we have that on the file. Then today, late this afternoon, we did send out an RFP, a request for proposal for consultant services for the comprehensive plan. So that will be due back to us mid-September. So we're excited to see what proposals we get for that, and we're expecting some quite dynamic and great consultant teams, because we're asking for not only some economic development aspects, but also looking at some marketing or branding as well. And then, of course, the land use component, transportation, and those types of things. And then the other item that I wanted to mention, and we talked about some sort of economic development activities, is we are in the process of developing a Wooddale gift-giving guide that will be sent out to all the residents and the businesses within the city. And part of this is that the city is paying for this partly because we know that the construction at Wooddale Road and Irving Park Roads has been just really tough for a lot of the businesses. And so this is the inaugural year for this gift-giving guide. It is meant to be for all occasions. It's not really a Christmas or a holiday type gift guide, although we are releasing it probably mid-November. And what we're doing is we're allowing all of the businesses to be listed in the directory or in the guide for free for the first year to see how things go, and then we'll reevaluate in upcoming years and may charge a minimal fee to produce the document, but once again we'll see how things go. So I did want to let you know about that, and we're excited about this first year because it really is for all types of gifts, not just retail gifts, but those experience gifts that people often look for nowadays. So, for example, a dance studio may offer some dance lessons where that would be a nice experience gift to give someone. So we're going to have some gift categories, and then we'll have a directory of those businesses that are listed as well. We do also have on our website a business directory for any business that is a licensed business in the city that has opted to be listed in our directory. It is free, but they are available on our website as well. So there's a little bit more robust of a directory there, but any business who's opted out is not shown on that directory. So that's all I have.
Is there any other business from the commission? Being no further business, I make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you very much. See you next month.